you miss us? Worry not, the Circular Changemakers are officially back, and this time I went all the way to Rotterdam to meet Petra and Andreas from TransitionHERO. TransitionHERO is a green tech innovation company focused on designing and scaling up green technology smarter and faster. They work on areas such as energy, bio-based chemicals and waste streams, helping startups to going from the idea to full scale and becoming the next transition heroes. In this interview we learn a little bit more about the company, some of the projects that they are already working on, and their vision regarding some structural topics associated to the circular transition. Stay tuned for another episode of the Circular Changemakers. Why did you decide to found TransitionHERO?
Well, I was in a big engineering firm before, and I came from the offshore, from the oil and gas, and I thought I want to contribute to sustainability. And where can I make impact? Well, my background is chemical engineering, so maybe I should move to process plants and see how we can make the process industry in the Netherlands and maybe in other countries more sustainable. So it's really in the design of the processes, how to produce things, because that's where my knowledge is, and well, maybe I should do that. Then what we actually found out was that if you want to do this, it's better to do that in a separate company. So you can be more entrepreneurial, you can make a better fit between the different companies you work with. And we really thought about what can we do to make more impact. So I'm together with Steph, the co-founder, and that's why we thought, why not make a business plan, think about how we can do this and start doing it. So we were lucky, we also found investors that were supporting us in setting up the company, not to do that with the two of us, but really grow it and with more people and also make more impact. And that's what we did. So we started, and that's where we are now. We are having people now, we have 15 clients, we are really contributing to projects that we believe in and that have that impact. So yeah, I'm super happy with where I am right now.
Could you tell me something that was for you really important in order to drive you to this circularity field? Some situations, some experience?
The main vision I have is to see our planet to be fair for everyone and sustainable both for the environment and for the society. What actually took me into sustainability is volunteering that I have done in Ghana, and then was followed by one in Cameroon and one in Mexico, and then I realized, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to work towards sustainable development, and this is what makes me happy, and that's why I'm here.
What kind of solutions does TransitionHERO offers to the public?
Yeah, so we work in two big areas. One is renewable energy and everything that comes with it, so also energy storage, green energy, everything that has to do with making our energy more sustainable. And the other part is actually renewable carbon. So it's about recycling technologies, it is about bio-based technologies, it's everything to make the process industry more sustainable and develop new processes for that. What we do is we work for both startups with the green technology, we work for corporates that want to implement a new green technology, and we work for municipalities that have buildings or neighborhoods that they want to make more sustainable, and they need actually industrial scale solutions for that. So that's what it all connects. We start always looking at the business case. Also, sustainability is about, in the end, giving a good business case, and by being creative and putting the right technologies and mixing that together, you can make a good business case.
Could you tell me some examples of what kind of solutions you already developed?
So one of the projects that we currently work is with a startup company that they have the ambition to convert plastic waste into new chemicals. And this is a very circular project because what's currently done is like you recycle plastics and you downgrade the quality, but from that project you are actually getting something that is even higher value, and then you can recycle it back and make plastics that are at the same quality. So we are supporting this client with a concept design and further basic engineering, And we have the aim to make them business case for this startup profitable, because that's one of the biggest challenges. It's difficult to compete with the current market. Another project is with a municipality here in the Netherlands that we want to make their ambition of becoming carbon-free municipality in the Netherlands, and we want to replace natural gas for heating with hydrogen, with specifically green hydrogen that is produced from renewable energy sources. And we are working currently on the concept design and on the business case to make this dream for the municipality come true.
Yeah, and I think another very interesting project is a heat system. So we have a food producing company, a very big one, and they want to stop using natural gas. So and what they want to do is they have a lot of heat and they have a lot of cold. So we have done a study and see how we can actually combine that, and first lower the amount of energy that is used, and then still the amount that they are using, make sure they can use green energy for that. And I think what is very special, what we did, we included a very smart buffering system. So we sized it very well, but we also used a new technology to make it a feasible business case. So putting these elements together, we tuned the model a little bit, and then we came up with a solution that the client said, yes, we want to move forward with this because we can save really a lot of CO2, and it's a great step. It's totally worth to invest in. And so now we're moving to the next phase to really start implementing it. So that's super nice.
I was thinking, no, it's so nice because there's so many incredible solutions out there, but one of the main problems are exactly how can we make this profitable, because the solutions are amazing, but they are not feasible in the actual market because they are just too expensive. Or
if you just say, look, I want to stop using natural gas, and you just go to an electrical boiler, it just doesn't work, it's too expensive. But if you then think about, how is my energy profile? I'm not all the time using this amount, your energy profile is like this. So if you then can buffer that amount, that overshooting amount, and then in that way you can size your system much smaller, then suddenly you get a business case that is feasible. So the challenge is really in thinking about combining solutions in a smart way and then create value for a client. So they think, okay, if I want to be more sustainable, I want to spend money on it, but it also has to return. It needs to have a return. So if you then make a design that gives them good value and a return on their investment, then they're also willing to do it. Do you know where our name came from? So we came up with this name. It was actually, I came up with this name because I wanted to use it to put people together that always have these ideas about sustainability and want to do things. And I thought, what if I start organizing Friday afternoon drinks with all the people I know and that like that? So we inspire each other. Sometimes, it's just about meeting the right people and being inspired and being able to move forward again. But then what happened was we needed to find a name for the company. And then only this name we had. And then we said, but then people think we are transition heroes. It's not really, maybe, but it's what is actually behind it is that we work with people in other companies, and those people are the transition heroes. And what we should do is put them together and empower them and help them to make the change. And that's where the name Transition Hero came from.
In your personal opinion, what are the main enabler conditions that could facilitate the creation of circular economy projects in an environment like the Netherlands environment?
I think it starts, like said already, it starts with people that are motivated to make a change and are really putting effort and energy in it to make it happen. But also what I think is really good in the Netherlands, that there are subsidies available. So if you have new technologies that not have 100% closing business case, especially if you do it on a demonstration scale, that there are subsidies to overcome that financial barrier. So what is always the challenge with scaling up is investors want to see it very big because then you have a good business case. But scaling up a new technology, going in one step so big is a very big risk because you don't know if it's all going to work. So maybe you invest this amount and then it doesn't work. So it's better to take a smaller step first, see how it works, and then take a next scaling step. But that step in between, that is not always a good financial position. So what I like in the Netherlands, that there are subsidies available to overcome that step. And it's also really much needed, that budget. So maybe it should even be more. So it's easier for companies to take that step, to build the demonstration, and then get the information they need to go to a bigger scale. And I think if there is more money available in that way, scaling up will go faster of new green technologies.
And policies is also one of the things. So if the people, as Petra said, people and government is actually the main initiators. If people demand something and they are loud enough and the government come with new policies, then the companies, they have no other option from actually following that policy, like reducing their CO2 emissions, reducing the waste or the water consumption. The people needs to wake up and start realizing that we need to accelerate the transition towards a circular economy. So companies start to move with that trend of people that demand a new product that is more sustainable or a new process that is more circular.
Yeah, but also the tax system needs to be more fair, right? So the companies that are creating products that are polluting or are using resources that are not sustainable, those should be charged more tax than companies that are using the right resources and the right technologies. So there are, I think a lot is going on in that world, and a lot needs to happen to change the tax policy. And I'm really looking forward to the CO2 tax because that will spark a lot of projects to become feasible. Yeah. What is good is that some companies are already calculating with an imaginary tax on CO2. But that makes also a feasible business case in the end for companies.
Yeah.
What kinds of conditions do you think companies that want to work in the circular economy field should create to their employees in order to be aligned with this new vision, with this new concept?
I don't think that's different for companies that are in the circular economy field or other companies. I think in the end all companies need to think about long-term sustainable business. So it is in the end of what is the product that you are creating and what is the impact of that. And that's not only climate impact, that is impact on all the things that we need on our planet Earth to be balanced. So it's about people also, and then it also goes to employees. And what I believe, if you want to make changes and if you want to be a good company and a good employer, I think you need to give your people some freedom and encourage them to come up with ideas, but also say, yeah, what should these ideas be in which direction, in which field? So, for example, say you can come up with all kinds of ideas, but I want them to have impact, and I want them to have sustainable impact, and I have some criteria for that. And then encourage them and motivate them to work on that and give them time to do that, especially the people who want to do it. And I run an innovation program together with the other co-founder of TransitionHERO in our previous company, and we really found out how can you do innovation in a big company, and that is really about giving that responsibility also to the people in the company to do that. Yeah, we started TransitionHERO to make impact. So it was not just it was not a financial drive. It was the starting point was why do we want to do this? Because we want to make more impact. So we cannot hire people that are not willing to make impact. So also if we judge as a team what are we going to work on, it is about which project is making most impact. Also, what do we like to work on? Because if you are not having fun with a project, yeah, it's hard to really put all your energy in it. But yeah, in the end, it is about making that impact.
Circular economy is the future, right? So you want to work in a working space that feels like future, and that's what, when I came here I was like, wow, it feels like future. It's so innovative. You see so many other startups in this working space, and that everybody wants to make an impact, and you feel like, okay, I'm part of this community, because if you're surrounded by the right people, then you'll have more motivation to work towards your passion. And of course, in terms of working with your employees, you want to also work with colleagues that actually value your opinion and they listen to you. And that's very important because in such an innovative environment, you come up with ideas, and if your ideas are not heard, they will just stay in the mind and it will never be done. So I'm really happy that I am working for TransitionHERO, because it's a company that really listens to you and they value your ideas and they want to push it further.
Quite possible some of the people that will watch this interview later have the dream to create their own company in the circular economy field. And so if you could give them a piece of advice, what would you say to them?
How we started is what was two questions. Was one, what do we like to do and what are we good at? And then the third thing, together with that, how can we make impact? So if you then start brainstorming about those three aspects, you come up with different ideas, yeah, and then you need to create a kind of business case. So you maybe believe a thing is worth to start a business for, but yeah, in the end you need to have a paying client that wants to pay for what you are making or giving or, you know, doing with your company. So yeah, that is really about interviewing a lot of potential clients and people around it and stakeholders to see, is your idea really what you believe it is? And ask open questions, and then you come to new insights, and that's how you tune your business idea, and then you just have to start doing it.
Entrepreneurs or everybody that wants to work towards starting up something their own, the first most important thing that they need to find out is their why they do this, their main vision. If they don't have this, then they may start up something, but if it's not towards their vision, they will just lose passion and they would, let's say, stop at some point.
You are working in a company that has an impact in order to accelerate the circular economy, and you, Petra, founded a company that have that ability. So, in your personal opinion, what kind of skills should people develop in order to have an opportunity to work in a place like TransitionHERO?
The advice that I want to give, let's say, to students that are currently studying towards a degree is actually to be curious, to try different stuff. And then in this curiosity, you find your purpose, and probably one of the purpose will be circular economy. And you want to work towards that, which I believe most of the young generation, I think this is what they want. They are sick of the traditional way that things were done.
Yeah, well, we have a model that we need all kind of people and they all have to be different. So what do you need to develop? Everything you bring is actually good, because in the end it's not about individual skills, it is about the combination of people that you need to have all the skills in the team and all the capabilities and the knowledge. And the further you grow, the more you can add to that. So we normally use team profiling to also make sure we are balanced as a team, not to have 10 exact copies of Petra in a company. That doesn't work. You need to have diversity, and that's where the good ideas come in as well.
Maybe 10 Andreas would be good though.
Oh, that would be awesome. And then 10 Petras to compensate.
Oh my God, they will fight. There will be a war. It will be a war zone.
I learned first thing in my study in Cambridge, don't change your job, change your company. Well, you can make a lot of impact there. So why not start trying to do that first, and then you can move on maybe to another job which is different, and you can make a new sustainable impact. So I really like to motivate people to think about, what can I do in my own environment, in my own company? How can I make what I'm doing every day? I'm going to the office, I do these activities. How can I change that so it contributes to a sustainable business for the company I'm working in? I was one of those people. I worked in a big corporate and I was making the change there. So I went to the big director and I told him, look, I have a plan. I need you to think with me, how can we do this together? And that's also the way how you do it. You can say, am I allowed to do this? No, come on, you tell your director, hey, let's do this together. You are smart, right? Can you make my plan a little bit better? And then he likes it because it's his plan. So it's not about, it's about your idea, but also how you take people with you in your organization. So think about what different type of people are there, what are their motivations to do something, why are they there at that position, what's driving them, when do they do a good job. So if you help them in doing a good job, and you get all these people, individuals along with you, and also promote that a little bit to the whole organization, then suddenly people say, yeah, we're doing it together. And that's somewhere you need to tune that, and that's about people management and about having an idea that is a sustainable business idea. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I joined TransitionHERO, which is a startup, is because I really wanted to be a change maker. I worked before in a bigger corporation and I was trying my best to change the way things work, but it takes time and I didn't have the patience. And I realized that working for a startup, you can make change a lot faster. And especially here in TransitionHERO, that our aim is to make the change for either the startups or especially for the big corporations, which normally, let's say, they follow a standard way that things was done before and is proven, but they need somebody that comes with a more entrepreneurial mindset to make the change for them.
The Netherlands has a really ambitious strategy in order to promote the transition to the circular economy. So in your opinion, what are the biggest challenges to achieve these goals?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of CO2 that needs to be changed, right? So it's a massive target that we have, and the thing is, we have a system now which is linear, and that is all about systemic change making. To change that whole system, with imagine all the factories we have in the Netherlands and how people behave and how they work and how the economic model works. That is something that somehow needs to change to a circular model. And the challenge there is that you need to have incentives for all the parties in that circle to make it circular. And now sometimes the incentives are there for one party, but yeah, they need to collaborate to do that together. So for example, if you say, I want to use waste plastics to make new plastics out of that, it all goes back to what is the quality of the waste plastics. And those waste plastics are, for example, collected by the waste handling party, the recycling company, and they need to separate it. So for example, they have an incentive on maximizing the waste because they get paid for the amount of waste. But the transforming those plastics into new chemicals means it really is about the quality of the separation and the quality of the waste plastics. So if they don't do a good job, you cannot make good chemicals and then you don't have a good business. So somewhere you need to align those incentives. And then it goes back to the consumer maybe that needs to do the separation already in order to get a circular system. And those changes had to make all those parties be aligned and work on that same goal together. I think that's one of the big challenges we are facing. And yeah, you do that with new technologies, smart thinking, you do that with explaining people how it works so they are committed to contribute to it. You do that with looking at the financial models and the tax models that we have currently. But in the end, it is a combination of all those things together that need to change.